Day 7 of our cruise started early and was a day we will never forget. Our alarm went off at 4:30 a.m., signaling that we were entering the portion of the Beagle Channel known as Glacier Alley, surrounded by the Darwin Mountain Range and the breathtaking view of D'Agostini National Park. This narrow strait in Tierra del Fuego is named after HMS Beagle, a British ship that first surveyed the area during its world circumnavigation of 1826 to 1830 with the naturalist Charles Darwin on his way to the Galapagos Islands. The Beagle Channel has a length of approximately 150 miles, a width between 3 and 8 miles, and provides a sheltered passage between the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Its western part is wholly inside Chile, while its eastern part forms a boundary between Chile to the south and Argentina to the north. As cruise ships sail through its northwestern Chilean branch, known as Glacier Alley, passengers can enjoy the mesmerizing views of the 5 world-famous glaciers named Alemania, Francia, Hollanda, Italia, and Romanche, among other smaller glaciers. All of these blue ice glaciers fall from heights of over 1,000 feet down to the water below from Patagonia's Darwin Icefield, which covers 890 square miles of the southern tip of South America. Glacier Alley is only visible from a boat or by air, and several tour companies from nearby Ushuaia offer day trips to see it. The Beagle Channel, along with the Magellan Strait to the north that we had traveled yesterday, and the Drake Passage to the south that we would travel tomorrow, are the only navigable seaways around South America. However, most large-sized commercial vessels operate on itineraries via Drake Passage or the Straits of Magellan. Under the 1984 Treaty of Peace and Friendship between Argentina and Chile, marine vessels, including cruise ships of other nations, are allowed to navigate these waters only with a Chilean pilot on board. As we left Glacier Alley behind and cruised further down the Beagle Channel, a new pilot came aboard to guide us into our port for the day, Ushuaia. As we zigged and zagged through the islands surrounding the channel, Ushuaia slowly came into view. Ushuaia is known as the end of the world, as it is the southernmost city in the world, as opposed to Fort William, Chile, which is further south, but only a town. So Ushuaia, being bigger, gets the title. The Marshall Glacier towers above the city, and this morning was covered in clouds. Hopefully this afternoon we'll get a better view of it. As Ushuaia has an airport and large port. It is the largest departure point in South America for tourists going to Antarctica, and there were multiple excursion ships in port getting loaded for their cruises. Once again, we walked down the port to an awaiting catamaran, and within a few minutes we're heading down the Beagle Channel. It was a beautiful, calm day on the water, even if it was a little chilly and cloudy. For that part of the world, it was a beautiful day. Today's excursion was the Penguin Rookery Navigation, a catamaran cruise visiting Les Eclairs Lighthouse and Islets. These rocks hold a fairly large colony of sea lions and fur seals, as well as a rookery of imperial cormorants, which look a whole lot like penguins. Our next and main stop was at Martillo Island, home to Gentoo and Magellanic penguins. It was easy to spot the Gentoo penguins by their orange feet, and their markings were quite different, without the black and white stripe of the Magellanic penguins we had seen in earlier ports. This Magellanic couple were guarding their nest at the top of a small cliff at the edge of the grass. After 3 days of seeing penguins, we were getting pretty good at identifying the different types. We could have happily stayed there all day, watching the penguins. Again, as in the previous tours, they tended to ignore us and went about their grooming and fishing. After a quick cruise back up the channel, we were again on the pier. As in the previous days, our time at port was short and the excursions were long. There had been little opportunity for shopping, which is unusual in cruise ports. Today we found a single little store open with lots of customers and very little inventory. So we made our way back to the ship, and before long, we're cruising south again. As we left Ushuaia behind, the glaciers above the city, which had been hidden behind the clouds this morning, were now shining brightly. This far south, we have left mainland South America, and we're well into the vast array of islands that make up the southern tip of the continent. Isla Navarino is to our starboard side for most of the evening, and to the port side was Isla Grande de Tierra del Fuego, with many hundreds of smaller islets bordering the channel. This evening's cruise was a good time to sit and reflect on all that we had seen and experienced over the past week, the sights, the wildlife, and the people we had met, and dream with hopeful anticipation of what the following week would bring as we entered the Southern Ocean and toward the South Shetland Islands. We wondered how it could possibly get any better, but were still nervous about what the next few days would bring, crossing the Drake Passage. We took the rainbow as a good sign of even better things to come. Stay tuned for part 6 as we tour the South Shetland Islands of Antarctica.